see, I don't think there's a question with binary, right?
Yeah, so far there's no question with binary, but I was doing the lecture slides, but I haven't finished them. I was currently busy with them, so I'll do them. We'll do hopefully today in the past papers we'll get binary 2023.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we just do text files then,
Okay.
since there's no binary.
Okay.
But personally, I feel like uh text files are more demanding. Even though you could say technically they are easier, but they're more demanding because you need to there's more code for this thing, for text files compared to binary. Binary, you just need to know file input stream, buffered input stream, data input stream, object input stream. And you also need to know file output stream, buffered output stream, data
Yep.
output stream, and then object output stream. So
Okay.
yeah.
No,
Remember
that
you
one I'll do it. I'm gonna do it later after class. Hopefully the class ends early, like that mock what. Then I'll do it. And then if we get it, at least I would have went through the content. So when you do that section of the code, maybe as I said, maybe in 2023. I don't know. But do these questions do like a follow-up? You see how there's arachnid and stuff. Question
yeah.
1, 2, and 3, they like that.
No, they are unrelated. It's different
Okay.
problem statements.
Okay.
Which makes sense because if they didn't do that, that means you guys would fail. Because if you get one question wrong, that means the whole thing is wrong.
Mm.
Yeah,
Okay, makes
so
sense. I think it's better. So we're
so
doing this one is file handling. This one is text files.
yeah, text files and regular expressions.
Okay.
Okay. Let me create a new project. So close project, file, new Java project. This is question 2, right? I'm just gonna call it question 2 and then finish. I don't like when it's like
The other
this.
one's there. Ne?
Yeah, let me just delete them quickly. Hey, some people's Eclipse there's a lot going on.
There's
This
a
part
lot. Yeah.
this
Because
part
I
is
think
it's
maybe
full of projects for some people. Like it's full. I'm like,
I could gonna go back to back, look what you did on your previous, like some of us who don't know at times.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
here I don't know whether they provided you with this file. Let me see. You Unda DAC UTC needs
Uh-huh.
a Java program to automate the processing of aquatic information from its aquarium. Okay, so we're just processing. This is related to the aquatic, so the aquamarine, aquarium, and what, all those things,
Mm.
fish. So it's related to that. There are two different types of. You see, this is another way they can phrase it. Two different types of. It means that it's inheritance. So you need to have a
Oh,
base class and subclasses, a superclass and subclasses. So we have fish and crustacean. And these people
hi.
the names they write here. The UDC has already implemented the aquatic class. Aquatic or file handler. Where's the aquatic? Oh, there's the jar file. I didn't
So we
see the
already have
yeah.
it.
Yeah, so for the jar file, you need to add it to build path, right? So you right click on the jar file and then you go to build path and then click add to build path. If when you do
Okay.
that, you see now the errors are gone. If you look at it, errors are now gone.
Okay,
I
and then
think,
I just say build path. Ne, I say build path and then add.
yeah, able. It seems like they've
Mm.
already created everything for us.
Isn't it the same as yesterday? You remember what happened?
Um, yeah, but let me see. They say has already implemented the aqua. Yeah, okay, yeah, it's fine. It's different from yesterday. They say it's already implemented the aquatic class is already implemented and its children, they are provided in a jar file named udc.jar. So it's fine.
Okay.
It's already been implemented.
Okay.
So we just need this information. The only thing we need to create is the aquatic file handler. So I need to delete that one that I had there. That's there already. This one,
Okay.
and
Oh,
write it from scratch. So right click on the package and then say new and then create a new class, aquatic file handler. And
okay.
then I'll just open that package explorer if we need it. For now, let me just leave it like this. So usually, okay, yeah, this I expected them to say you should create an static method, because with anything that's static, that means
Then nothing.
you don't need to create an instance of that class. So that's why they're
Okay.
telling you to create this method here, so that you're not forced to instantiate and create an instance in your main class. So
Okay.
we
Makes
need to
sense.
create a static method, read aquatics, right? So for now, the only information that I know is that it's gonna be public, because obviously the user needs to be able to access this function, and it's gonna be static. So
Okay.
we don't know about the return type, so I'm just gonna put 3 question marks there, and then the name of the function
For
is
now.
this, and then I don't know about the parameters, so I'm just gonna leave it like that. So far, this is the only information that I know. And then I read continuously. The read aquatics method must accept a file handle. You see when they say
Okay.
file, you see when they say file handle, right? They mean it's you must pass in a parameter that's of type file. In this case,
Mm.
the hint that the trick that I always use here is just copy as it is. You see, file handle. They
And
actually,
put it in the parameter.
yeah, you see it's gonna work, because remember, classes start with an uppercase. So file handle. Okay, for now, let me just write this void so that you can see it works. You see, there's the file. All you just have to do is
Mm.
import. So
Okay, that
yeah,
file.
that's how I interpret it. I just read it as it is. I just read it, oh, is you want this is the type and then that's the name. I just pass it in there.
Mm.
And it should return an array list of
Ish.
aquatic. So
Okay, so it's array list. Then
so
inside you have
so where there's void here, remember where there's void, this is where you put the return type here.
type. Okay.
Return type here. So what is supposed to return? An array list
List. And then
of
those thingies
aqua.
aquatic.
Yeah. So I'm gonna start by importing the array list itself, then I'll import aquatic.
So the thing inside should always be not a plural, ne?
No, it's not a plural. Remember, it should be the name of the class. So
Okay.
if you say aquatics, what is aquatics? There's nothing called
Yeah, and it's
aquatics in your
aquatics, yeah,
project.
and the name of the class.
The name
Okay.
of the class is aquatic, not a plural. But since it's
Okay.
an array list, we would say that it's a list of aquatics.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But it doesn't mean you should write it in plural. If you write it in plural, it would be like, okay, what's aquatics? It would be like, what are aquatics? So we have that method, right? And then the read method must read each line of the file and determine if it is a fish or
A crustacean.
crustacean using appropriate regular expressions. So now we need to get to regular expressions, right? I think there is a file that's provided here inside the data folder. Yeah, there are files. So these are the files. You see, there's also junk here. So if you look at this line, this is definitely a line that does not exist. So we need to create regular expressions for such. So how do we create regular expressions? We're gonna look at each of the child classes, right? Fish and and crustacean. So that's the reason why they are giving you this information here at the top, so that you develop a regular expression. So remember, look at this important thing. Each is separated by
A
a tab.
tab.
Keep that information in your mind, at the back of your mind. We're gonna need that information. So if we look at this, right, what's the first thing in the file? It's gonna be something called something that represents an aquatic tribe ID. And then there's
Okay.
more information at the bottom here that explains, that talks about it. They're saying this is a unique tribe ID of the aquatic, 8
It's in 8
characters
characters.
long,
Okay.
right? And then for the characters, let me see. Yeah, at the bottom they didn't specify. Yeah, so that's the only information that we have here. So they were not specific. They said characters. They didn't say
Or
only only
letters or
only
numbers.
only only words or only integers, or they didn't say that. And if you look at this file, it's a mixture of
Yeah,
digits
it's
and
numbers and
yeah.
yeah.
So since it's all characters, but they didn't say, you see, that's the problem with these people. They some questions they're not explicit, but in your practicals they were direct. I don't get it. Why are they making these questions more confusing? Because they just only said 8 characters long.
Hmm.
So yeah, since they didn't, if you look at the files, the best way to come up, since they don't explain a lot, you'd have to look at the files themselves. You see,
Yeah,
they
but you see, there's no, oh, there is small letters, is there? Yeah, there's no
no
small letters. Oh, there is. Look at line 60. Wait.
line 5,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But if you look at line 5, I think this should be wrong. This part is gonna make it wrong, so this line won't match.
Okay.
Yeah, but they did it. Like I said, it's open-ended. That's the problem. If it's
Mm.
open-ended, that means I can come up with any regular expression. So let's just the way I'm gonna interpret it, like it's like it only comprises of digits and characters, right? Like
Correct. Alphabets.
yeah, letters of the alphabet. Yeah, only those two. There's no underscores and whatnot.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how I'm gonna interpret it.
Makes
There's
sense.
people like like how do you even write a regular expression now? Like how? They're only saying 8 characters long, but I don't see more information about what type of characters are they. Um uh okay, 8 characters long, right? I'm just gonna use
I
this.
think let's
I'm
use
gonna
the one that's in the file.
I'm just gonna
The
use this.
picture file.
I'm gonna use W. Remember
But isn't
backslash,
that being lazy?
isn't it what?
Being lazy.
Well, it doesn't really matter. There's many ways to kill a cat. Did you
Okay.
write a regular expression that's able to match the lines? That's all they want. Here,
Okay.
I'm gonna write it like that because if I don't, can't you, this backslash W it includes underscores, digits, lowercase characters, uppercase characters, and the space, I
Mm.
think, right? So
Okay.
there's nothing like hash at. Yeah, there's nothing like that because do you know why I'm writing it like this? Ne? I'm
Mm.
avoiding to have to remember they said characters. That means it's anything. It could be this, that. Look at how long my regular
Oh.
expression is gonna be. It's gonna be really long. That means open brackets and minus and plus and equals. It's gonna be a very long regular expression, which is not gonna make any sense. So that's
Okay.
why I'm just gonna use the ones that are part of the regular expression topic or class or whatever you want to call it. It's the backslash W.
And then you're gonna put 8, those curly braces, and say 8.
Let's see. They said it's 8 characters long. So 8 characters, meaning it's exactly 8. So since it's exactly 8, you're gonna put curly braces like this. Put an 8 there.
Mm.
If they'd said
Okay.
eight or more, it would have been like this. You'd have added a comma there. This means 8 to infinite. Or
Okay.
if they said there's no minimum, but the maximum is 10, that this is we can interpret this like 0 to 10. Yeah, 0 to 10. Because you can
Okay.
either have Nothing there. Okay. Why is it not? Yeah, you can either have like character. Let me see. Why isn't it matching? Okay, you see, okay, let's put the 8 back. Let me
Okay.
see. Hello.
Where isn't it highlighting now? Or it should be 8 characters.
Oh, exactly 8. Okay. Uh, backslash. Okay, now it's highlighting. Yeah. So yeah, it also does include uppercase characters and stuff. Does it also include, okay, it doesn't include, but it also includes numbers, you see.
Okay.
So that's the only thing we need it to include. What's the what it also includes an underscore, right? Yeah, underscore. So that's the only thing we're gonna include. I'm just gonna say backslash W and then 8. And then aquatic
Mm,
temper. Aquatic temper. Okay, remember before we continue, remember they said each element is what? Separated by a tab. So
10.
after matching this, I need to say there's a tab here.
So
So
space.
yeah, so yeah, I need to say backslash T, or you can just say backslash S plus. You can write it like
Only.
that. These are two ways,
I
but
mean the
they,
photo.
I beg your
Mm?
pardon?
Okay. Sorry, Tand, I'm coming now.
Okay.
Oh, these people. Hey. Yeah. Like someone's tutoring me. So I can't hear. The door's closed and Mandy is bathing. So those are the forms that you have to sign there. Yeah. Oh. Put those in. Sorry, Tando. Yes, I'm back. Yeah.
Yeah, as I was saying, each element or each line that matches a fish. No,
Mhm.
I'm looking at the wrong thing. Which line that matches a fish is separated by a tab. So you could just say
Okay.
backslash S to say that this is a white space character and one or more.
Okay.
You could do that, or you can just write like this and say backslash T for a tab.
Okay. Okay.
Either way is fine. And then after the space or the tab, there's what you call an aquatic temper. Aquatic temper, I don't know what the data type is now. So I have to look at the file.
Okay.
So um aggressive, is it the one? Which one is temper now? Oh yeah, we have to check here in the, if you look at the class, hey, these people want you to be what's that guy? That guy who's a very good detective. I forgot his name. But yeah, they want you to become a very good detective here and search things here. Look at the class, right? A temper is what?
Mm.
A string. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's gonna be a string, but I don't know what type of a string it is because here the temper of the aquatic class.
Yeah, they didn't even stipulate how long it should be.
And they didn't even tell us like what's the temper. Hey, these people they have time to play, ne?
Yeah.
But if you look at the file, all I'm seeing is things like aggressive, gentle, docile. So I'm seeing 3 words. I don't know why they wouldn't write it in this. If you ever get confused, right, ask questions, raise your hand and like say, I don't know what regular expression you want me to write for here. You just said temp. What do you mean by temp?
Okay.
Because even if he says, okay, look at the files have corrupt information. How would I know that docile is correct? What if it's something that should be flagged as a corrupt line? So you get what I'm saying?
Okay.
They should have
Mm,
been specific. So all I'm seeing is 3 words: aggressive, docile, and gentle. So
okay.
if you wanna say it's one of those things, right? You put brackets like that, and you say it's gonna be gentle, and then you put that pipe or that one or that thing that looks like a one to say or.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that thing means it basically means this. Come on, basically means or, but that's not how you write it. You don't write or. You just put that pipe there, and then there's also aggressive. Come on, aggressive. Then we have docile. So it's any
Okay.
of these three. Let me see if I spelled aggressive correctly. Yeah. So it's any of these three. And then I'm expecting a tab, but if I look at it, it is there. I didn't even need to look at it because I know there's 3 pieces of information. Each information is
Makes
separated by
sense.
a tab. So
Mm.
I'm gonna put a backslash T there or tab. And then fish buoyancy. Thank you for writing the data type. Fish
No
buoyancy
problem.
is a double, right? And they didn't give you limitations. So since they didn't give you limitation, remember the way you write a double inside regular expression, you say that it has a digit here followed by a dot and another digit. But
Okay.
since you want to accommodate any number of digits, right? You can say
You add plus.
plus on both sides. Say one to infinity for
Okay.
the digit before the dot, and then 1 to infinity for the digit after the dot. Or you can also write it like
Okay.
this and put the dot inside brackets. There's 2 ways of writing it. I don't care how you write it, but as long as it matches your output. So backslash D, and then let's just write it this way. And then backslash D plus.
Okay.
Then and then we could test it out. Take one line like this line. We could test it out to see if it's gonna match. There we go. It did match.
Hey. Yeah.
And the thing that I like to do to irregular expressions, right? I like to add to tell it to be strict. For example, I don't want to be, you see all the spaces here after, yeah, it's not part of the regular expression anymore. So how do I tell it? I put
Plus sign.
a dollar sign at the end, and then that character, that cap, whatever, I forgot what it's called. So
Okay.
now you see, look at it now. It's no longer matching.
The,
It's gonna be
the
strict. So I
thing.
need to remove any white space characters. You see, now it
Okay.
starts matching. If I put any extra things like, no, this is not what we agreed upon, it stops there. So when I see the last digit, that's where I should stop, which is 7. So here, after 7, I put an extra space purposefully. So I need to remove it so that it matches. But remember your file, the information that you get from the user, it might come in this way. You have spaces this side, you might also have spaces this side. So we'll handle that using Java. We'll trim the spaces. So this is the regular expression that we've developed. So we are fine. What I'm gonna do for now is, okay, let me just write it in code. Let me not write it inside Notepad. So let's create a pattern, right? So let's define a pattern. And remember with static methods, you cannot call you cannot remember anything that's static. You cannot call instance variables inside a method that's static. Because remember what static
Okay.
means. It means
It means
it doesn't depend on an instance.
instance.
So
Okay.
let me show you. You're gonna face these small errors and you won't know what's going on. Remember to tell Java that want to handle deal with regular expression. We need to call the pattern class to tell it, okay, listen, I'm gonna create a pattern here. store this pattern.
Yeah.
I'm gonna use it to match a specific line
Okay.
or a string.
Compile.
So pattern dot compile, you pass in that regular
Okay.
expression inside strings. And
Oh.
you see our regular expressions like this, right? Look at the backspaces, it's only single. But when
Oh,
I
it
cop
must be double.
when I paste it here, don't worry about it. It will put it for you. When you paste it here, it's gonna add an extra escape character. Like
Yeah,
that.
but they said you won't use I hate regex.
Yeah, you're not allowed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's
So we
why
are
you need to practice and know what you're doing before you go and write.
doing.
Yeah,
Okay.
so there it is. Let me show you something. If I say fish pattern here dot what is
Match.
it? What's going on? Okay, no, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. I forgot what exactly. I'm gonna wait. Let's wait until we get to do matches. You'll see that it's
Okay.
gonna have issues.
Coming.
It's gonna be adding those squiggly red lines. So
Like the same thing. And then so it's
so
the same. Mm. It's gonna kill us. Well, I'm even asking for tutoring classes at this point. And
are you still
okay,
there?
let's see. Yeah, no. And then this one will fill it. It's in the office, so we'll fill it later. Lana. Then you just sign. Full name, sign, date. Later today. Yeah. Yeah, but everything should be fine. I left my group members like that. Yeah, no. Okay. Thank you, Bondi. Sure. Okay, Bondi. Can just put them there on the table. Sure. Yeah, okay. I'm back, Tando.
Hey, you're a busy woman. No?
Ish. We're sorting out a few things. Ish. But
Okay.
yeah.
So for the next question, right? It's still an aquatic tribe, so it's the same thing. So I'm just gonna delete all of this and then type the \w again because it's literally the same thing. And then remember each element is separated by a tab. So I need to put the \t there. And then let me see. Oh, they said 8. I knew something was missing. 8 characters long. Yeah, we need to put this Kelly braces there and then put 8. And then we have the temper, which is a string. Konja, what did we do with the temper? What did we call it?
Temper isn't it the docile?
Oh yeah, the docile and what. Yeah. Thanks for the reminder. So here we're gonna have aggressive or docile or gentle. And then followed by tab, because we know based on the information we're given that each information is separated by a tab. And then we have egg count. Finally, they're talking about specifying the data types. Egg
I
count,
see that.
egg count is some integer, egg count, just an int, so there's no max. So 1 to infinity, \d 1 to infinity, there we go, and then followed by tab.
Okay.
And then behavior type. So we need to go check our class. We can't just write there. So we need to check each member or each element inside the behavior type. So we have parasitic, sessile, and symbiotic. Yeah, and this is yeah, sessile, two double S's, right? Symbiotic. And then what's the other
Yeah.
one?
Good luck, Bongi.
It's like what? Um, parasitic or parasitic or
Parasitic.
parasitic
You see
parasite.
what I think is also written. You see aggressive, docile, and gentle. They were written also under. You see how that one is behavior. Were they also written those ones or not? You
Uh,
see how those ones you're able to find under a class, but then the aggressive and whatnot, we just had to basically look at the data files.
yeah, we just had to look at the data files. So
Okay.
if you look at the data files, yeah, but these people, I don't like how they're writing that. They wrote this paper. They're supposed to tell you that it's either aggressive, docile, and whatnot, or they created the enum for it. These people, it's fine though. There's nothing you can do. You just have to write what's there. You you have to actually go to read the file. So I think they're testing in different things. Can you follow instruction? Can you go find out um information for yourself
Okay.
based on the files we've given you? So I can already tell here there's docile, so docile, and then aggressive, and then there's gentle. So I can already tell it's one of the three. I mean,
Mm,
they shouldn't penalize you if you just say it's anything that's in uppercase, one or more uppercase letters. They shouldn't penalize you because they didn't tell you. But I think they might penalize you because the memo is gonna come like looking like this.
that.
And the assistants, all they are doing is checking if you wrote the exact same code as the lecturer, which is very stupid. But yeah,
Okay.
that's how they mark. Those people don't know what they're doing.
Mm, makes
So
sense.
so yeah, I'm gonna add the $sign at the end so that it's strict, that it starts exactly there and stops at exactly there. So let's see one line here inside the file that we can match. That's correct. This one. Let's see if it's gonna match. There we go. But if you start adding extra
Okay.
spaces, it's not gonna match. So we will handle this in Java. For now, we're just gonna copy and paste this regular expression. So to make my life simpler, I'm not gonna be giving it funny names, the pattern. I'm just gonna call it crust pattern because that name is very
Okay.
hard. It's very weird to pronounce and it's gonna become a very long name. So I'm gonna say it's
Okay.
equals to pattern dot compile
Then you put in your pattern.
and you paste your pattern. And then
So
yeah,
every backslash we added second one basically.
yeah. Remember the backslash itself, it means something in Java. So
Okay.
you have to escape it so that Java doesn't
Okay.
think, oh, you are referring to the meaning inside Java. You have to skip it. So
Yeah.
you have to escape it. So the way of you escaping, it's like you're moving from one responsibility to another. It's like this was your previous responsibility, right? To escape to whatever that purpose was, the backspace in the back
Mm.
the what is this thing, man? So what is this thing called again? The
Backslash.
the backslash. Yeah, so whatever the meaning was inside Java, the backslash, whatever the meaning was, when it's accompanied by another backslash, it means escape that current meaning of the backslash, the Java meaning.
Yeah.
So it basically what this means, it means just show me, I just want the backslash itself. I don't want to use it for that meaning that it has in Java. So it's
Mm.
like you're shifting from one responsibility to another responsibility. That's why it's called an escape sequence or an escape character, because you're escaping from that responsibility to another new responsibility. The the
Okay.
the example that I like to give, even though it's a stupid example, but it's like a father who ran away from his child. He ran away from his responsibility to take a different responsibility. That's
Ability.
yeah,
Yeah.
he ran away. It literally escaped. So that's exactly what's going on here. And you can test it out by just outputting the backslash. Like y-
Okay.
remember the regular expression, right? The way we wrote it, right? When you
Mm-hmm.
wrote it like this, we mean the backslash and the W is one thing. So
Yeah.
if you don't, we literally mean backslash W. If you don't put that second backslash, Java is going to interpret it in a different way because the
Okay.
backslash might have a different meaning. It has a different meaning in Java. So you need to every time you use a backslash, you need to add an extra backslash.
Makes
So
sense.
after creating the pattern, right? We need to create matches for
Mm-hmm.
each pattern. So I'm gonna call it
Okay.
fish matcher. You can imagine the matching, like, when you're matching couples and things like that. So it is sort of like the same thing, but now we're not matching couples, but we're matching lines. We are saying,
Lines.
does the line match with the regular expression, right? We are playing matchmaking here. So I'm
Okay.
gonna say my fish pattern.
Dot
No,
matches.
okay, no. I shouldn't call it here. Um, let's just create. Let's just initialize it to now.
Oh,
I'll
you're
show
gonna put
you.
it in the if statements.
Yeah, in the if statement. Yeah, because that's where I need to call it when I get the line. Because remember the way it works, right? We are playing matchmaking here. So I'm gonna say dot matcher, right? And then pass in a line here. But now, what's the line? You get what I'm saying? So I need to read the line from the file, then I can do the matchmaking. So let's see how. Remember, this is a text file. It works the exact same way as you reading input from the terminal and you outputting to the terminal. It works the exact same way. So if it works the exact same way, that means I need to, and I'm gonna use automatic um, resource management, ARM. So it's gonna
It
throw
seems
it.
like that's what they use, ne? That's what you're gonna be using every time.
Yeah, just use that one because it was developed for a reason because they saw programmers forget to close the file.
Okay.
It was developed for that. So ex.print straight trace. And then, okay, right now it's complaining because it's like, okay, you are saying a line will throw a found not found exception, but I don't see anything throwing a found not found. So that's why
Okay.
it has that red line there. Don't panic. Write your scanner first. Then you'll be like, oh, you mean that line? Okay, I understand now. This thing is stupid, but yeah. So scan is equals to new scanner, right? And what am I
Yeah.
scanning? The file, which is that handle that we've
Thank
passed
you.
there. And
Yeah.
then I'm gonna import. You see, now it stops moaning at me. It's like, okay, file not found. Oh, you mean this line? If I try to read the file, it might not be found. So file not found exception. Oh, okay. Let me stop let me stop moaning at you. I know this is what's gonna happen. It might not find the
Mm.
file. So now everything is fine. We can start coding, right? So now we need to read the lines, right? Remember, there's multiple lines. So we need to
Yeah.
read the lines. How do we read the lines? We use a while loop. Say while, and remember the scanner is the one that does the scanning. You can imagine that scanner when you go to Pick and Pay, and they're scanning your goods, your products that you're buying. They're
Mm.
scanning the barcode. It does the same thing. Remember scanning
Okay.
that scanner, what it does, it's reading all the individual digits on the that barcode, all the individual digits to scan so that when you go out, that thing doesn't go beep beep because
Mm.
now you've bought the goods, right?
You
So
scanned it.
yeah, so
Yeah.
remember the developers, it's people like you and me. So they're gonna borrow some concept from the real world. So you need to think creatively and be able to be like, why did they call it a scanner out of all names? And then you think about it,
Mm.
what does a scanner do? Is to scan, which means it's to read, right? So it's the same concept. So I'm gonna say while scan dot has next. If I say has next, right, it's gonna read each token. What do I mean by token? Another term for
Mm.
each information like this, we call that these things tokens. So this will be a token, this tab will be a token, this will be a token, this will be a token, this will be a token, right? So if I say has next, it's gonna be a problem. I would rather say has next line. I look if there's lines instead of looking at the each. If you think about it, isn't gonna take more time if I read each token because it means I'm gonna
It
read
is.
this. I'm gonna read this and
Then
check
read
if there
that.
is, and then read this and read only this, and then read only. You see, it takes time. But if I say, "Is there a line?" Then it'll be like, "Yes, there's a line." So I only ask one question instead of asking
Okay.
many multiple questions and things like that. So I'm gonna
Oh, and that's
say,
what I forgot. Like last week we were writing a test, ne? And
yeah,
I wrote. Yeah, I was cramming. I didn't like obviously I read the code, but I didn't focus too much on it and realized that day that they're actually gonna ask read. Then obviously the first one I put his next, ne? But
Yeah.
then on where we are reading the actual line, I think I wrote nonsense. I'm gonna lose marks there because I think I wrote next something. I think I said input next something, and I was supposed to say next line.
Yeah, you're supposed to say next line. I also explained that part. So we
Okay.
now know his next returns. And what I suggest, normalize reading the documentation. Java comes with nodes, what that function does. Look at his next. It returns true if the scanner is another token, not the line,
Mm,
the piece of information, whether it's a string or a tab or an integer or a double. That's a token.
mm,
So it looks at each of those individual things. I don't want it to waste time asking so many questions. I'm just gonna look at the line instead and say has
okay.
next line like this
Line. Okay. So you're killing two birds with one
with
stone.
one stone. Yeah. Remember, if you imagine this for you guys, I think you're not gonna take it seriously. I feel like they should normalize giving you very big files. Like there's 2 million records here. You will understand how important speed is. Because now it's only 10 lines. You'll be like, yeah, you run your program, you're like, oh, okay, it's actually fast,
We
Mos.
can actually read token by token. Yeah.
Yeah. So now I need
Okay.
to get the line. So this returns true or false. It's a Boolean. It
Mm.
checks, is it true that there's a line? If it's true, then I'm gonna get the line and store it inside a string. So how do you get the line? You use the next functions, right? So if you say next, it only returns the next token or the string itself. That token, remember that it's a text file. Everything is interpreted as a string. If you want to save the information as a double or float or whatever, you have to cast. So if I use next token, it's only going to get the next string or the next token, and then that's it, right? Which is going to be
Okay.
which is going to be a problem because I'm checking every line. So I would rather
Mm.
get the whole line like this. If you read the information, it says it advances the scanner past the current line and returns the input that was kept. This method returns the rest of the current line. Excuse me, it returns the whole line. So I'm gonna press enter because I want to get the whole line. Hence, I was asking if there's a line. If I had asked has next, then I would know I would obviously say next because I'm only asking if there's a next token, if it is a next token, then I should
Mm.
logic should follow the logic that should follow after that is me extracting the token and not the whole line. In this case, I'm asking if there's a whole line. If there is, take the whole line.
Oh, okay.
And then the whole line, right? So now we have a problem that we need to solve here. Let's say this is the line, right? Like this. This is the line, like this. And remember, these are tabs. So it's invisible to us, but just imagine that there's a backslash T there. Um,
Mm.
yeah, backslash T. That's why we're writing that regular expression. Backslash T, backslash T, right? This is exactly how it's written by the computer. And then here at the end, there's a new line character so that it starts on a new line, the next string. But it won't store, we don't care about the new line character. So I'm just gonna remove it. So now the question is, how do you extract each piece of information here? The way we extract each piece of information is two ways. You can use a split function for strings. Split meaning that it takes in a regular expression or a token, let me say a token, that we're gonna call a delimiter. And then it splits and returns an array of strings. That's the first approach. So for example, I can
Mm.
do this. I can do, okay, for demonstration, right? I feel like it's important for you because now there's a lot of code here. Let me just go to my main and then just demonstrate. Um, oh, there's already there's code for the main here. Okay, it's fine. I'll just undo. I just want to
They
demonstrate
already,
the
they already wrote it for us, so we have to write it ourselves.
now I think this person wrote here. Yeah. Remember this file was already implemented. So let me show you. Let's create a string, right? And then let me say that's the whole line, right? And then let's say it is hello, and then that character there, and there's a number, integer, and there's a double, and then there's what else can you put here? Okay, it's fine, just like there's something simple. So we have this string, right? How can I extract this string, all those pieces of information? How can I extract them? There's the first way, and it's gonna return arrays or an array of strings, right? So I'm gonna say call it values, and then say is equals to, and then call that string, right? That line, and say line dot split. Look at this interesting thing. That's why I should read. You see this part, normalize reading these notes. It explains what that function does. So I don't need to, I already know what it does. You see, it takes in a regular expression, string regex. It takes in a regular expression. And then it returns an array of strings. There it is. That's why I created an array of strings to store the answer. So
Okay.
it splits the string based on whatever token you want to or the delimiter or the regular expression. So I'm just gonna put a regular expression here. It's a regular expression, by the way, so you could put those round brackets there and say I want it to divide, to split the information when it's remember the delimiter is like the stopping point when I'm extracting information. So it's like it's gonna scan HELLL. It sees that hyphen. It's like, oh, I should stop here. So it's gonna ignore that hyphen, and now I have the first piece of information. And then it's gonna see the next thing. This is a digit is a, oh, there's a hyphen, so I stop. So it's gonna extract
Stop here.
78. Yeah. After the hyphen, it says 9. The dot doesn't matter. I didn't say it should split with the dots. It only splits with the hyphen. It says the 3, it says the 4, it says the 0. I was like, oh, okay, so I'm done. But remember, each element in the array is of type string. So we would have to
Yeah.
cast it back to the data, the rightful data types. So I can do it like this, right? I can say string, let's say value 1, right? That's the hello, that string hello. And then it's at index. Okay, what am I doing? It's at index inside the values array at index 0. Remember
Yeah.
when it splits, right? This is what's gonna happen. At index 1 is gonna be the string hello. No, index 0.
Okay. Index
0.
0 is hello.
And
Then
then 1,
78 is 1.
8, and then 2 is 9.340, right? So that's why you don't have, I'm doing it like this so that you can separate the information into 3 different variables. And then the next thing that I want to store is an integer, right? So int number, right, is values at index 0. And then now it's like, now it's moaning at me. It's like, what's going on here? It's like it's saying you cannot convert a string to an int. But remember, this is a string here. Remember, this is an array of strings. So each value, even if it's 78 like that, it's a string. It's not. It's index 1. My bad. So how do we convert anything from a string to a numeric type? You call the wrapper class for that data type, for that primitive type. For the small int,
Integer.
for int, there's the integer class, and then you call the dot pass int method,
Oh,
and
okay.
then you pass the string that you want to convert. It's
Okay.
the same for even doubles. So let me show you double. Okay, let's say value 3, right? Let me just call them value 1, value 2, and value 3. And then value 3, it's also a double, it's a number, it's a numeric value. So I'm gonna say dot pass double, and then values
2.
at index 2.
Okay.
Yeah. So you see the similarity. Integer, that's the name of the class, and then double. And then here, the only thing that changes is this int part. It's no longer called pass int, it's called pass double because I'm
Double.
converting it, I'm passing it. I read another term for casting is called passing. So I'm passing it to a double. And then I just say output sys out value 1, and then plus a space value 2 plus the space value plus value 3, right? I'll show you the another way. This is the first way, right? This is how you can do it. Do you understand? Are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
I'm saying, do you understand so far what I've written here?
Yeah, I understand that part. Because that's what you're gonna do under what? You're gonna do it under the try catching thing in it.
Yeah, under the try catch. I was just explaining it so that you can see it in actual output. You see, there it is.
Oh.
So
Oh, there's the 78, then the space. Okay.
yeah, this is the first approach. Then the second approach is using, it's still the same thing to be honest, but there's different ways of killing the cat. Yeah. So let's use what we call string tokenizer. So string tokenizer, as the name
Oh,
say,
yeah, it breaks
as,
them into tokens.
yeah, as the name suggests, it breaks them into tokens, right? And then I'm gonna instantiate a new string tokenizer like this, right? And then I need to import, right? And then it takes in the delimiter or the stopping point, which is like, okay, it takes in two things. The string that you want to tokenize or divide into tokens, which is line, right? Comma, what's the
Mm-hmm.
delimiter? What's the stopping point? Where should I stop? When you see a hyphen, which is similar to whatever
Oh,
the previous code we
we
wrote.
wrote, yeah.
Yeah, so it's up to you what method works for you. So now the only difference is that I'm gonna rename it to token so that we see that this is indeed string tokenized. So the only difference is that you say tokens, it's gonna store it inside these tokens. These tokens, it's sort of like an array of strings, like I said. And then now we just say next token.
Oh, so
Yeah, so
so
we get
in
we
that
get
string
we
one,
get
we had a string and we did arrays. So string
yeah,
tokenizer is already string arrays,
yeah,
basically string
it's
tokenizer.
basically but
Okay.
under the hood.
Okay.
Yeah. And to get each at each index, right? Remember, this is now like this is
Mm-hmm.
like, for example, index 0. I'm getting
Mm.
whatever information is index 0. But by default it returns a string, like with the string array. So I would have to cast if I want to cast. So the next time I call the tokens dot the next tokens function, it's now moving to the next. I'm now calling a different index or a different value. So the first time I
Okay.
called it here, I had, if you look at the previous code, I hadn't called any other token, right? So it's gonna by default
Mm.
call the first one, which is hello, basically
Okay.
like it index 0. And then the next time
Mm.
I use the function again, it's gonna call the second available token. Remember, we said the separator or the delimiter is the hyphen. So
Mm.
when it says 78, this is like at index 1. And then if I call next token again, it's now like I'm referring to index 2. This is now like index
Okay. So it's a
2.
repetition.
And then this is now it's going to extract this piece of information. So it's also
Okay.
important to know how many pieces of information you're going to have. Because if I try to call tokens dot next token again, there's no other token available. So it's going to crash. So you should be careful with what you're doing. Know exactly how
Okay.
many tokens you expect to get back. Next
Okay.
token. So if I run this, it should crash because it's like, what token are you talking about? You see, no such element exists. So it's called the no such element exception. I feel like Java is friendly
Okay.
because it gives you hints. There's no such element. So it throws a no such
Mm.
element exception. So you should be careful by looking at the number of tokens you expect to get back. If I run this, same
Okay.
output. So there's many ways to solve this. I suggest you choose whatever you're comfortable with. Doesn't really matter.
Well,
Because at the end of the
okay.
day, whatever delimiter that you're passing is going to be treated as a regular expression. You see, I put
Okay.
brackets here, just like we do with regular
Yeah.
expression. Yeah, so either way, even the split function, I did put brackets. So yeah, that's why I wrote this line of code so that you see, so that you can decide what the delimiter is here. So string tokenizer,
Mm-hmm.
tokens, right? Is equals to
Yeah,
new
it's continuous.
string. And don't ask me how I can remember all of these things. Practice makes
Yeah,
perfect.
I was about to, I was about, Tendo, you did this last of last year. No ways.
Yeah,
No
I did it. I
ways.
did it last of last year. So we have this, right? What's the string that we want to pass? It's this line that we got from that file, right?
Yeah.
So I need to pass that line that I've extracted from the file and followed by a delimit, right? Or the
So
stopping
our
point.
delimiter is going to be what? The
Yeah,
tab.
the tab, right? Like this. But
Okay.
I'm just no, I'm not gonna put it inside square brackets. I'm just gonna leave it like this. But then remember, Java, things in Java already have a meaning. The backslash already has a meaning. We need to escape it. So I need to put two
Mm.
backslashes like that, or else it's not gonna work. Your code might be right, but it's not gonna display and do anything simply because of that backslash. That's programming for you. So you need to be careful with writing this thing. So now we can extract the tokens, right? But before we extract the tokens, the matchers, remember the matchers?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
haven't meshed
yeah. So I need to initialize the matcher. So fish matcher is equals to whatever that fish pattern is
but
dot.
matches. Oh, that's why. So fish
Yeah.
matcher must
You see,
match the
you
fish
see,
pattern.
you look at what's going on here. Why is it not highlighting? You might ask yourself, wait, why is not cannot make a static reference to a non-static field? It's even telling you what the error is. Remember what I talked about static. You can't call something that's non-static in a static method because if you leave it like this, right? These are what we call instance variables. They are not static variables. What's the difference?
So so
Static,
you
static,
cannot
static,
call
static means that they are sharing. So that means it's part of the class. It's not part of the of each instance. They are sharing. Each instance has, so that means it doesn't depend on the instance. That's what static means. So this function doesn't depend on instances. So why are you passing instances within inside of it? That's what it's asking you. It's like, what are you doing? So that's why you need to make it static so that you can reference. You tell it
oh,
pattern.
they're so
Oh, okay, my bad. My bad. Static, remember static comes before the type. Look at here. This is the return type, right? It comes before. So you need to put it before the type. And since we are not gonna change these values, we're gonna make them constant. So static final. This is the
okay.
final, this is the final this is the final information. I'm not gonna change it. So it's a constant. But I need to make it static because you can't call something that's non-static in a static method. That's
Static
why
method. Okay.
yeah, that's why when you look at your memos, he wrote it like this. I saw one of the memos, he wrote it like this. That's the reason why I wrote it like that. But I can't just write static and and you don't see where the error is coming from. So that I did it on purpose so that you see. So now it should highlight, it should show me the functions inside the pattern class. Remember, it's an instance of pattern. So pattern class dot matcher. You pass in the line that you want to match. So we are matchmaking. We are saying this person here. Let's say, for example, this is you. We are matchmaking. Are you a match for someone? Are you a match for this line? So that's what's going on there. We are matching. It's matchmaking. And remember, the matchmaking is based on the regular expression, right? So that's what's going on there. So we're gonna ask a question later on to ask. We're gonna ask you, is that person your match? By calling the match the matches function. So
Okay.
crust match.
Is equals to crust pattern dot matcher.
Yeah, so crust pattern dot measure passing that same line. And then now we're gonna check if it is a fish or it matches with a fish. Simple if statement. So now remember it's a matchmaking, right? I'm gonna say, did you actually find your match? So fish measure dot matches. That means I've found my match. And then I do the same thing for the other matcher, crust matcher dot matches, like this. And then now we can extract the number of tokens based on the class that we, or that line that we have matched with. Remember, if it's the fish
Uh,
is if it's fish,
fish.
it's three tokens. And then if it's the other one, it's 4.
It's 4.
Yeah, so you need to be very careful with what you are doing. So let's start with fish, right? So the first thing I need to name my variables based on what I'm getting from the file. There's the aquatic tribe ID. So I won't write it in full. I'll just say tribe ID, and I know it's going to be a string. So string tribe ID, right? But we usually write it like that. So tribe ID is equals to tokens. Remember, tokens are stored here. Dot next token,
Okay,
right?
so that line, you see line 27, string tokenizer tokens, it will always be like that because we just said tab. So it will go for the fish and the crust.
Yeah, remember, look at the while loop. While is next line, take that line. It goes on, it moves on to the next line. Is there a next line? If there is, take that next line. So it keeps
And break
doing
it into
that.
tokens.
Yeah, it keeps doing that. So each line is gonna be red. But that's why we are using matcher so that we split the tokens, the right number of tokens based on the matcher, like based on the line. Is it a fish? Is it a crust? Depending
Okay.
on the line. That's why we have I'm using the matches functions for both the matchers to check, and
Yeah.
did you match with whatever line you're looking for based on,
Mm,
excuse me, based on the regular expressions or the patterns.
makes
So
sense.
we know that for fish, it's three informations, right? There's the what string tribe ID, then there's the string temper. Remember the temper, docile, aggressive, blah blah blah. So tokens
Mhm.
dot next token. This is basically like now we're at index 1. Remember we talked about this
Index 0.
inside main. So you should be careful. You must count. So the third one, they said it's a
Okay.
double. It's a double, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Buoyancy, it's a double. So double buoyancy. I don't even know if I spelled it correct. So remember,
Um,
we need to call the wrapper class. And remember, classes, they always
mhm.
start with an uppercase letter. That's how I can easily tell. So double dot
Okay.
pass, I'm passing what double. I'm podcasting to a double.
And then the temper as well. The temper is what? Isn't it an int or it's a string?
It's a string. And then I pass that string that I'm reading, or that token.
Okay. Makes
Okay,
sense.
can you give me like 2 minutes? I'll be back right now. I wanna go open the gate
It's
for someone.
okay. Okay.
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay.
Uh, wait. Okay,
We were at the double. Yeah.
buoyancy. So now, yeah, now let me tell you something. These questions are always going to be the same. The only things that change is the class. So
Okay.
this code that I'm writing right now, the only difference is you're no longer dealing with fish. You're not dealing with maybe soccer players, football, or
Mm.
something. Yeah, but it's always going to be the same. There's going to be an array list somewhere. There's going to be a file head somewhere. So
Okay.
remember, it expects an array list, right? So we need to return an array
Yeah.
list. So outside the try catch, I'm going to create an array list. of type aquatic, right? And then what am I gonna call it? Then just call it list. Instantiate it, goes to new array list. Right, there we go. And then I'm gonna return it at the end there. I returned now because it wouldn't stop complaining if I hadn't returned anything. So there's that array
So
list.
you created a new thingy. You instantiated that whole list. Wait, what is
Yeah,
that?
that array list.
Okay.
Yeah, remember the array list is basically an array
Yeah.
that always keeps increasing. It's like a vector in a way, but not necessarily.
Okay.
But I think there's also a vector class in Java, yeah. But in array list, I view it in terms of like a vector in C++. Remember, a vector, you just keep adding things and there's no limit. It keeps on growing based on whatever number of elements or values you've added into the vector.
Okay,
So,
makes sense.
so that's why they always suggest use an array list. So I need to add to the list, right? Dot add an aquatic, right? So
Okay.
that's why we are storing these pieces of information like this, because I need to instantiate the aquatic and then add it into my list. So let's look at the class. This is a fish, right? So let's look at the fish class. How is the constructor structured? So it takes in 3 strings, right?
Hmm.
If I look at it, okay, they didn't do it the right way. It should be displaying. You should see the class, but it's fine. I'm gonna assume that they are in the same order as the way I'm reading it from the file.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I'm gonna do this. So since I have all the pieces of information for a fish, I can instantiate a fish most because the constructor takes in these 3 inputs that I've read from the file. So I'm gonna say fish is equals to new fish, and then it takes in a tribe ID in the same order, temper and buoyancy.
Okay.
There we go. And then I need to import my fish class. And then I add the fish to my array list. Remember, array list, right? It doesn't matter even if whatever you're adding is a type, is a subclass. Because remember, fish is a aquatic, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so this line is gonna work because fish is an aquatic. It extends the fish class. So that's why that line will work. But typically the way we write this, right? Hey, there's a lot going on. My screen is too small. So the way we write this, we avoid creating variables like this. So the shortcut for this is just copy this new. Remember, this new is gonna create a new object. So we just write it there, exactly there. It looks different than before, but it's exactly this. It works the exact same way. So what happens here is I'm saying new, create a new fish, and then after creating it, add it to this list. I don't have to
Okay.
create I don't have to create a variable for that fish. That's the only difference here.
Instead of saying fish is equals to new fish. Da, 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 da.
Yeah,
No,
stop
you
stop
said, I think
stop
you said you called it what?
fish. I just called it fish. But
Yeah,
now,
you called it fish.
yeah, so if I undo, you'll see I called it fish. It's one and the same thing because remember this fish variable just stores all of
Exactly.
this. It just stores all of this. So why not I just paste all of what it stores in there instead of creating a variable? If I was going to use the variable somewhere, then it would make sense for me to create the variable. In this scenario, I'm not going to use that variable elsewhere. So yeah, there's no need. So let's look at the other one, uh, the tribe. So it's tribe ID again for the crust. So string tribe ID. Remember, you can name the variables the same way because all these 3 things, right? Oh, okay, let me focus only on the variables. All these 3 variables, right? They only exist within these curly braces. So I can repeat the variable, name it the same way. So we get the
Okay.
first token. You see, it's not complaining because those variables exist only within these curly braces.
That block. Yeah.
Yeah, in that block. Yeah. So we have the tribe ID followed by the temper, which is a string. Wait, is this also a temper for that other one? Yeah,
Yeah.
also they do have these 2 common things, tribe ID and temper. Those are the two common things. Dot next token. And then now we come to doubles and whatever.
And yeah.
We have integer, which is egg count. So int egg count is equals to integer class dot pass int. That's the only way you can convert from strings to numeric values. You have to call the class and call the function or the method inside that class. And remember, look at here, I didn't create an instance. This pass int is a static method. How do I see? How do I know that? Because I didn't say new integer. I just said integer, the name of the class, dot call that function. So that's the benefits of static method. That's why also here they told you to make it a static method so that you don't create an instance of aquatic function. Yeah.
Handler. Okay.
So we have that, and then the last thing is the behavior, right? I'm just gonna
Behavior
call it.
type.
So it's behavior, I think. So I'm just gonna call it behavior.
That's an enum, ne?
Yeah, it's an enum. So enum, it was it's actually similar to, okay, they didn't, this is not how they spelled behavior, I guess. I think they spelled it this way. Hybo. How did they spell the behavior? Oh, they didn't put an underscore. And they put an AU. These people, they're supposed to put an underscore there. Why is it not?
Behavior type.
These people, Mara. It's a
Yeah.
behavior type. Okay, now you can import. So there's the e behavior type, right? So it works the exact same way, like integer to pass int or whatever. But the difference is the function. It's not called pass e behavior type or whatever. It's called value of. So I'm gonna say the name of my enum dot value of. You see, it takes in some string, which is that token. Tokens dot next token. So it works the exact same way as pass int, pass double, but the difference is the name of the function. Yeah, so the name is called value of. And if you look at your enums, it is there. It's part of the class. Look, it's value of. And then to get values, there's a values function to get all the values within this enum. So yeah, these are hints. It also shows functions available for that enum. So if you forget, you need to look at your file structure. So now we're gonna do something similar to what we did here. We're gonna add. We now have all the pieces of information to instantiate the object, right? To instantiate the crust. So crust what?
And then
What's the name?
try
Crusta. Crustacean. I'm gonna pronounce it like that because now if I don't pronounce it that way, I won't be able to spell it. Crustacean. Yeah. Yeah, that's how you spell it.
Yeah.
I know there's a crust involved somewhere in there. So I need to enter the tribe ID. Usually the way they save the information in the file is the same way you're gonna pass it into the constructor when you're instantiating.
Constructor. Yeah. And then egg count and behavior.
Behavior. And then and you see it didn't complain, and I didn't even check the construct because I know they usually they like doing that. They like storing it in that order. They save it in the file the same way they're gonna pass it into the construct. If you look at our constructor, right, there it is. It takes in a string int behavior to e behavior type, which is exactly in that same order. Yeah, I must get a bigger laptop. This thing of having to scroll and scroll and scroll. Yeah, and then you're done with the class. That's it. Now we just need to call it inside main. And you know that since it's a static method, we don't need to create an instance inside main.
Yeah.
So I cancel all of this and then okay, it returns an array list, right? Of aquatics, yeah. So it returns an array list of aquatic, right? And then I'm gonna call it just list again. And then the name is then to call a static method, you start by the name of the class, right? Aquatic file handler dot read aquatics. And then the file handle, I need to say new file, create a new file, and then pass in the folder of where that file is located that I want to read. So why, you might ask yourself, why is there the file class? Why is there some such thing called a file class? There's a file class because it helps to solve. Remember, Java claims to be platform independent, right? So
Yeah.
how does it achieve that? We have the file class. Remember, on Windows, your 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 absolute path, like absolute meaning from the drive. We start from the C drive and then followed by the users folder, followed by your name, could be whatever name you've saved, and then forward slash the name of where your project is, or where your project, the name of your project. I call it question 2. Question 2 followed by the source folder or whatever. Okay, in our case, we're using the data folder, followed by the data folder, followed by the name, the actual name of the file. Ocean 10. Let's read 20.txt. That's how long it is, right? And okay, on Windows, it actually uses backslashes, not forward slashes. I keep making the same mistake. It's backslashes, not forward slashes. On Unix, which is MacBook, if you have a MacBook, it saves it using forward slashes. And on Unix, it always starts from home, followed by your name, Trinity, and then followed by the folder name, the project name, followed by the data, the folder that file is inside of, followed by the name of the file. So if Java claims to be independent, platform independent, it works on any platform or any operating system. Look at this difference. There's a huge difference here. So that's where the file class comes in place. It handles all these subtleties, the differences between operating systems and whatnot. And that's why whenever we whenever we instantiate our file, right, we don't specify the full path. Like I don't say C drive, users, what, because it's different for each operating system, right? On my laptop, it's not Trinity, it's something like this. Yeah, it's written like that. So you see, it's already different on my platform. So you can't write the full path. So we write what we call a relative path, which is
Yes, yeah,
from,
there's absolute and relative. Relative is from where you are currently, ne?
yeah, relative is where the folder is in, where's the, yeah, where, not where you are currently, but it's relative to the folder that file is in. So what
Okay.
folder is it inside of? It's inside the data folder. So I don't need all this other information there. So I need to just specify that it's in the data folder. You see, so the only difference is here is this one uses a backslash, this one uses a forward slash. But we don't have to worry about that. The file class handles those subtleties and those differences. So that's why we
Okay.
have to always create a file to say new file. And if you don't say new file, it's not going to interpret it as a file. It's going to think it's a string. It's going to say, oh, you mean the string data backslash. Oh, that's the problem too if you don't use a file class. So file class has two benefits. So I'm just going to specify, go to the data folder backslash. And remember, it's in Java, 2 backslashes, and then ocean 20.txt, right? And then that should return the file. But there's another way that I advise you to do. If you want it to run on both operating systems, remember this is only going to run inside Windows.
Okay.
So in order for it to run in both operating systems, use the forward slash, one forward slash like that. That should run on both operating systems. So
Okay.
just if you read your textbook, they did explain it. They advise you use this way. So I'm gonna
Okay.
do that. So there's the list, right? The array list. So I can actually display the information. There's a toString. Look at the classes. Look at crustacean, right? There's this toString. Can you see?
Yeah. Yeah, I can see the two string. Is
And
it
then
what the
for
function?
fish, and then the
There's
fish
a
also
two
has a
string as well.
toString. So since we now
Yeah.
know, and I want to output the string representation so that I can actually see that I was able to read from a file, right? So remember what we did yesterday, the for each inside the list, the array list. I'm gonna use that method for each element like this. And then each element, I'm gonna call it, it's an aquatic, right? So small letters, aquatic, that arrow, and then those curly braces. And then now all I have to do is just call the string representation, right? But remember, it's a string. It returns a string. So that means it's not outputting to the console. I would have to say sys out, system out to output to the console. And then I say aquatic dot toString. And then it displays. Let me see, it should display, right? Let's run it and see. No such element. Read aquatics. What is it saying? Oh, it's a string tokenized. Okay, now I'm opening the class. So something went wrong when you were reading from our string, our aquatic class. The temper.
Okay.
There's no such. Why is it saying there's no such? Um, we said tabs must be separated by tabs.
Oh,
So, but yeah, but the fact that it reached here, that means it was able to match. That means it found the line. So let me see. Let me look at the lines with 20 lines. There it is, Mos. Again, I'm reading ocean20.txt. Yeah, this is the file. Let me see. Did I name it correctly? Ocean20.txt. Okay, let's just use the Windows representation. Maybe it's not. Okay, so that's not the issue. So
that's
let
not
me,
the issue.
yeah. So that means the issue is this file. Let me try 10, the one with 10 value, 10 entries. 10. Okay, it crashed on line 11. So it crashed when it was reading, and it crashed. That means it also crashed in line for the temper. What's going on with temper?
Right.
Isn't it a string?
Check there. Let's check under the if it is a string go.
It did match, must remember our regular expression, right? We say it's gonna be gentle, aggressive, or docile, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is there. So I don't know, maybe it wants an enum, but that shouldn't be a problem though. I should be able to at least get the token. So let's see. Let's look at this one, right? This one, the fish. So there's one token, right? That's the first token, which is the tribe ID. So I've called next tokens or next tokens for the first time, right? So that's index one. That's the first element. And then I followed by docile or whatever that case is, which is the temper, which is the next token, which is like an index one. And then
Yeah,
followed
that
by
one is running. The problem
followed,
that's not running is the crust.
is it the crust?
Because 339, you see, 349.
Oh, it's the crust. Okay,
Is
I
it?
thought okay, so the crust, let's look at the crust. Yeah, this is the crust, most parasitic and whatnot. So we have this, right? And then you have this,
Mm,
we have a tab, and then you have aggressive. Remember, we said it's aggressive, docile, or gentle. Let's look at the
gentle, yeah.
let's look at the pattern for crust. I spelled aggressive correctly. It's the same here. Docile, I also spelled it correctly. Gentle, I
And
also spelled
gentle
it
as well.
correctly. And then let's look at parasitic, symbiotic, sessile, parasitic. Yeah, everything is fine. Oh, and I forgot to do something. Remember these files, right? It might have, you see the spaces here. There might be spaces there. So what I'm gonna do is before I read the line, I'm gonna trim it.
Okay.
There's this function called trim. So line is equals to line
Trim, yeah.
dot trim. So it removes all those spaces in the front and at the end of the line. So I'm gonna trim that there. I just forgot to add that line. And then what else? Why is it complaining with temper? Temper is a string and it matched. Okay, let's look at why, at least if it had the ability to show us here. You see if it had the ability
Yeah.
to say which line, let's say you tried reading this line and then something went wrong, then be like, oh, okay, I see the issue. Oh, it's because of this and this. Um, but the lines just look at it, the lines that don't exist, right? That don't exist, it's not gonna match. And if it doesn't match, if it doesn't match, that means none of these lines will execute. So that shouldn't be an issue. So I'm not sure what the real issue is.
It right now.
Why is it complaining or when everything is fine? Um, that's the thing about these files. Let me see. We have the one with 80, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
okay, let me try the different files because one thing I changed this to 10, right? And then now this the other one, the temper is complaining for the other class. You see, now I use this one. Now for a different class for the fish, it's now complaining for the fish, not for the. So I don't know whether
Anymore.
the issues is with their files or what, or it's me. Something is there's some small minute error that I have. What could be wrong here? Because I said any number of digits for the doubles and docile, I said it's docile aggressive. Isn't this a string? This is a string, right?
It is. It's supposed to be a string.
Yeah, it's a string, so you shouldn't complain about that.
Let's check in the thingy, in
Do they?
the what? The question paper.
Let's see. Let me just look at the classes. It takes in two strings. Yeah, which is the temper and the whatnot. So both of them are strings. Look at the temper here. Get temper is of type string. Get tribe ID is of type string. They are all of type string. Yeah, the token, or maybe it's not splitting. Well, let me see. Let me remove that extra backspace. Let's see now if I do that. Damn, I okay, this thing is annoying, man. Like it's really annoying. Okay, don't put two backslashes there for the tab. Just put
Okay.
one. Yeah, I don't know
Okay.
why for the string tokenizer it doesn't moan or do anything. But then for reading for creating patterns and whatnot, you need to add extra. This thing is just weird, man. Yeah. So this is the files. So he only read correct information. So this is the correct
Okay,
information.
but only one tab. So the double tab, then you should use it only at regular expressions.
Yeah, only regular
The
expression.
double. Okay.
Let me see. Remember, this takes in a regular expression here. Let me see if I say backslash s plus. Let's see if that's gonna work. Okay, let me put the two backslashes and see. Okay, it still won't work. So it actually wants you to put the even though it expects a regular expression, right? It still wants you to put the tab itself, not the symbol. So you need to put the tab.
Okay.
Yeah, so if they
Okay.
say each element is separated by a tab, do you know why are they telling you that piece of information? For the string tokenizer and for the regular expression.
Okay.
Yeah.
Since.
So that's everything, man. And then you get your 100 and then you leave. Yeah.
Okay, so okay, this one you said is basically the same. It's just that the names are the things that would change and the variables, I guess.
Yeah. The variables, but if you have the same style of coding, when you read a line, this variable you're always gonna call it a line because you're getting a line. Yeah,
Mm,
yeah. Scan this variable scan, maybe you would call it scan, but yeah,
okay.
the code is still the same.
Okay, this was productive. Okay. Now I see. Okay, everything's coming together. Can you go to the main quickly, Tando?
Uh, the main, okay, let me zoom out a bit.
So there we are doing line 12 is the for each loop, ne? So Is it
Yeah,
the for each?
you see me, I like advanced things. I like use. I don't want to die knowing that I haven't used some functionality in Java or in C++ that was advanced. I need to use
No,
something.
it's okay. I don't have a problem. Remember
So so
yesterday?
so this code is the same as this. Let me write it in a different way. Aquatic, and then inside of my list, right? And then I just say system dot out, and then I call the two string for each class, for each aquatic, right? The two string. You could omit. That's another advanced feature of Java. As long as there's a two string inside of your class, you don't explicitly call the two string. You can just leave it like this. And then if I run this, it's gonna work exactly the same. So that's
Okay.
another trick. But yeah, that for each loop that I wrote, it means exactly the same thing as this one.
That's that. Okay,
Yeah,
wait. So that's the name of the class, then name of the class, then aquatic, and then is the list.
then
Okay.
the list. Yeah. So what happens is, remember, this is a for each loop.
You know
So
how, don't
it's
they
going it's
usually, you know how they usually write, wait, that list is your own variable name.
yeah, it's my own variable.
Because others they'll call it aquatics. Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I was gonna write aquatics, but I was like, let's to stop being predictable. Just just write something different. That's why I
Okay,
wrote
no.
list. And
No,
then
that's okay. No, I remember line 12, you did explain it yesterday. It's just that it was like a sense of reminder. That's why.
no,
Okay.
yeah, so your
Okay.
main, no, you see why your main doesn't have a lot of marks. Look, this is only the code I need to write for my main. If you look at the mark sheet, main is like, I think 4 marks. So also, yeah, 4 marks. Did you use the read
Okay.
aquatics? Did you use the read aquatics method to get the what? Did you display all the instances to the correct stream, which is the standard output
Okay.
stream, which is the console? So you can get 38 marks here without the main, 38 out
Okay.
of 40. And remember,
Okay.
since they're not specific here about many things. That if the line matches, nje, that's fine. You extract the information, but also be careful to not match wrong lines and things like that. You see my information. There's no bad data here. All of them is correct data.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, this is the best feeling ever. When
Mm.
you see it, it's displaying. Are you like, yeah?
Yeah, like Tando, you see, if I really practice, like now we done with the yesterday we did those. Kind of yesterday, what did you do? We did the what is those things?
Uh,
The
inheritance,
classes,
abstract classes.
the abstract and stuff. So then is this. So now it would be the binary sorting. Hopefully they do the binary. Then yeah,
Yeah.
but we're done with this paper, technically.
Yeah, we are done with the paper because there's no Java script. There's no Java effects, so we are done.
Okay.
I, if there was
Okay,
Java, if there was Java
no,
FX,
yeah, I'm so happy, and I almost started with it. I'm glad before. Yeah, no, because maybe I think tomorrow I'll go to the computer labs or today late. It will depend. I'll tell you if they upload that paper here. Let's see that one. What is that one?
you see, if you're doing Java FX, you'd be drawing these things. It's like you're bringing back
Yeesh.
images, yeah. But Java is a bit simpler, but there's a lot of code with Java. That's the problem. There's a lot of importing classes, what. Yeah, it's a lot. It's not like
Yeah, no, that's
C++.
not.
It's a bit easier, but there's
Yeah,
a lot here.
yeah. I'm scared they might also do interfaces next week. I'm so scared, man, Tando. Interfaces, but it's okay. As long as you did 1, 2, then the third one would be the binary one that you're still gonna
Yeah.
do. Yeah, I don't know. You'll tell me if you're available tonight. If not, you'll do it tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow in the morning. I'm gonna attend. Yeah, I'll hear from you. You'll tell me, and then I'll tell you my schedule. But tomorrow, I don't think I'll be